Welcome to another podcast episode of the Placement Game. It's a real pleasure to have you on, Ollie. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for taking the
Very
time
well.
out of the day. Tell someone who's viewing this episode a bit more about not just Neosi, obviously you first, and then tell us what you do at Neosi.
I've been in recruitment about 20 odd years, and worked in high street agency to start with. I worked for a financial services recruitment company. I've done my own sort of contracting roles and done sort of almost a freelance stuff before, but obviously started Neosi. Started that in 2020. Started Neosi in 2021. Just tried to get Neosi going really. Focused on growth, not just for us as a business, but in terms of in our market.
Yeah, and I mean, what actually got you to found Neosi in the first place? Was it you're in a similar background, similar industry that got what? I guess the question is, what got you into recruitment? I think everyone has a sort of similar story where they just fell into it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, I completely fell into it. Yeah, I think I went for a job. I say I completely fell into it. That's not quite true. I went to a high street recruiter called Kelly Services, and I was using them to get a job. And in the process of getting me a job, I thought, I wonder what recruitment would be like to work in. It seemed like a pretty good gig, naively. And so I asked about it, and they actually said, "You're too young." I was like 20 years old at the time, and they were like, "You're too young. You have to." I think I might be 21. They said you have to be 25, which is ridiculous because you don't be any. Right? Obviously, they were fobbing me off. I definitely wasn't ready for it though, so that's probably why they said that. And then a couple of years later, I was looking for a job again, and they obviously felt like maybe I'd changed and grown into myself a bit. And I think when I was about 23, and I asked again about recruitment, they went, "Yeah, actually, we think it'd be worth you trying to do that." So I went through the process with them, and they gave me a job. I've been stuck in recruitment ever since.
Cool, man. Cool. I mean, I get a lot of people saying like when they first started recruitment compared to now, it's a completely different game. What are your views on that? Do you think recruitment's changed that much, or?
I mean, fundamentally, the basics are the same. You know, you're finding people for your clients' jobs. So that hasn't changed. How you do it massively changed. And I was in high street recruitment, which is quite a different gig to like specialist recruitment anyway. I would say it has changed a lot. Technology's changed it completely. Pardon?
Would you say that's the biggest difference, just technology or the people?
More than anything, people and what they expect is different. Companies and candidates. Companies couldn't expect anything near what they can get now. Like they would go to a recruiter 20 years ago, and they would be pretty open in terms of the kind of person they want, because it wasn't that easy to find somebody who'd done the exact same job. We relied on footfall, on whoever was registering with us, and job boards came in while I was there, and they were seen as kind of a bit naff, bit of a new thing. Hardly anyone's using that stuff. It's too early days. We were faxing CVs. Like my first ever CV I sent was faxed, which just seems mental. We even had a filter. That seemed out of date then, to be fair. I just went with it.
Cool, man. Cool. What just for people to get a better understanding on Neosi, what is it that you guys do? What niche are you guys in? What industry specifically?
So we do IT and telecoms recruitment, but that more specifically is focused on unified communications. So unified communications is everything around telephony, so hosted VoIP phones, broadband data, mobile, right through to the IT side. So we support companies with IT support roles, through to project roles, right through to most technical roles within their businesses, really. And the clients we have are mainly MSPs, managed service providers, or ISPs, internet service providers. They're the main clients. We deal with vendors within the unified communications space, so that ecosystem, software companies that are all servicing that space, but it centers around unified communications.
It's a very, I guess you could say, niched area, like an industry. You don't really hear, well, I don't really hear too much about it. What would you say is the benefit of being specialists, of being in an industry where there's not a huge market? Because there are some people out there who are sort of targeting everyone and anyone because they feel they have access to more people, more clients, and like more generalist.
Firstly, I think that if you specialize in an area, you get to know it and understand it really well. You have a bit more credibility when you talk to the clients, but it helps you as a recruiter because you know what they're talking about when they give you a role. You have an understanding, and you can think because you work in that space. All the people you're dealing with day to day work in that space. So straight away, you're talking to a client who says, I want to find somebody with X, Y, and Z skill. You can actually often think of people while you're speaking to them that might be a fit and things like that. So it's two sides. It's the client piece, understanding what they're talking about, what they need specifically, and then having and building that network of people in that space means you can go to market and find the people.
For me, I think that's been massive in terms of, I guess, sales. Big part of it is about perception and how people see you. It's one of the main reasons why I actually have this podcast, because I'm not just like a guy in AI or a guy who's a marketer. This podcast is linking me to my niche, and it's almost positioning me as more as an expert in recruitment, not just like an AI marketer. I think that's a massive part, and people see you as the solution when you're linked to their industry rather than just being like a recruiter who recruits everyone and anyone. I guess that perception of value increases just automatically, right?
Yeah, and generalist recruitment does work as well. I used to work in that space, and I know people that do, and they do well, and it can definitely work. It depends on the type of role and the type of industry that you're working in. Some roles you don't need a specialist recruiter to do that, and the method for finding the people is different.
Yeah.
As well.
Going on from that, why did you actually get started in this industry as a first? What got you?
Yeah, so I do value the sort of what you gain from being a specialist recruiter, and what I was doing before starting the OC was not really specialist or niche enough. It was just IT, SaaS-based businesses in general, which still worked. But I had a friend who I'd known since I was 15, and he worked in unified communications or telecoms space. Yeah. And we talked for a few years about starting and doing something together, and it just kind of the timing was never right. And he found himself in a position where he was available, and COVID had just happened, and I didn't know what was going on, but there seemed to be potentially a bit of a tech boom at the time.
Yeah.
So I suggested it to him, and he had to think about it. And I suggested basically, what if we team up? He understands that space. I can learn from him, but he can open some doors in terms of his contacts and his understanding of that space, and we can build a candidate pool in that and a network in that space. He was up for it, and so that's how it started. Really, we just thought, let's go for it. And
cool, man.
There was a tech boom at the time. And
I guess at that time, a lot of recruiters were almost shitting themselves because obviously COVID.
Massively. Yeah, at first.
Yeah, but I guess for you guys, it was, good.
Yeah, tech in general, it's weird. It's kind of everything froze for a minute. All my clients stopped hiring, and I was like, what's going to happen here? What are we going to do here? This is going down the pan. But everything was like that. Like recruitment, was one industry, but every industry was the same. Hence the reason that was happening to us, because our clients were doing the same thing. Saw redundancies initially and stuff, and then suddenly everybody wanted to hire.
There's a massive action that happens, and then there's always that reaction after. Walk me through that first initial boom for you guys, where you really started to see scale. Firstly, what was the initial driver of that scale in terms of how did you go about it? And tell me how you handled that initial spike in growth.
Yeah, so for us, it was an interesting one because there was a tech boom, but also specifically within unified communications, because everybody was starting to work from home and
Mm.
required the technology to be able to work from home, do calls like what we're doing now, video calls, and have their setup at home. All our clients were really busy with that, with setting
Mm.
their customers up with that. So that meant that they needed to hire. So we, not just it was a tech boom, but also specifically for us, it was a real
Yeah.
growth stage. So yeah, we did well. We got clients. It was kind of like a bit of a false start in a way because we thought that was the norm. We
Mm.
stupid. I was naive, but we thought, oh, we tapped on something here. This is amazing.
Yeah.
So let's go for it. We signed up loads of clients. We got working roles. We filled loads and loads of vacancies. We hired people for ourselves, more on the delivery side than the sales side,
Mm.
which was probably a mistake. But we thought we haven't got a problem with sales. Sales isn't a problem. It's all just deliver, just as quickly as we can and as well as we can, whilst building the network of candidates. Or I say candidates, they're not candidates until they become a candidate, but just people in that space, professionals. And so that's what we did, and that went really well for the first 2 years.
Was there a point where you realised, shit, now we actually need to get in more people through the
Yeah,
acquisition?
yeah, we were probably a bit slow to realise it, but things started to become more difficult in terms of we were delivering fine.
Mm.
What we weren't doing is getting that conveyor belt of clients and roles coming in. That started to wane a bit because there wasn't some, because the market changed. And what we hadn't done, as you should do in recruitment, is focus on sales. Sales is so important to not
Mm.
just recruitment; it's key to any business. Right?
Yeah.
If you have sales, you're just screwed. You got to
Yeah.
sell. You got to sell and then worry about how to deliver on it. But if you're not selling in the first place, you're screwed. And we didn't have a strong enough strategy. We were doing stuff, we got things, we've survived. We've got things moving, but there were points of like, oh crap, uh,
Mm.
this is slowing down here. We haven't got as much on,
Mm.
and what we're going to do? What have we done about it? Not enough.
Yeah.
We actually had a business coach at the time, which was very helpful to identify where it was going wrong. But
Mm.
he started working with us, and we were doing really well. And then it kind of trickled off, and he said, "Guys, you're not selling. You've got to be out there selling all the time. That's
Yeah.
your biggest problem."
How did you I guess, go into selling more and finding a different strategy that did work?
Yeah, you realise in recruitment when you have a lack of consistency, certainly noticeable on the perm side. Contract, obviously, you can forecast further ahead, but with perm, you can't.
Mm.
It's very instant. And when you start looking ahead and thinking, we've got nothing going in or very little going in the next few months, what
Yeah.
are we doing about it? Have we got a backup plan for how are we going to change that? We were just constantly chasing our tail. We were doing it with the help of a coach as well.
Mm.
We were achieving the numbers, but it was really hard work and it shouldn't have been that hard,
Yeah.
you know? And so it didn't feel like we were growing as such. We were just keeping going at that point. And that's stressful. And it's a mistake I think a lot of businesses make, actually.
Mm.
But recruiters do it as well. I know so many recruiters who did the same thing.
Yeah, I mean that was the biggest thing because we had a mentor starting this business, and that was the biggest thing that he said to us. He was like, don't even worry about your delivery. Your delivery you'll find a way. Just sell the shit out of it. Like that's like that's the priority. Just selling it, and then figure it out later on. So I mean, from that point when you had that realization on, okay, we need to just sell it before we deliver it, or because obviously you started the wrong way around, I guess you could say. What was the biggest attributor to getting in more sales from that point where you had the delivery sorted, you needed more sales? What was the turning point for you where you actually started to get in more sales? I think we spoke previously to this call and you said you really toned in on like LinkedIn.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that LinkedIn seemed to be a good way to go as a sales tool from when I started, actually, because I saw people starting to do it that weren't in recruitment, but just in general, that were doing really well, and they seemed to be smashing it. So I thought that was a good way to go, and I've always stuck by that. And that has been the thing that's carried us actually through, because it's much easier to have a conversation with somebody that you sort of don't know when they kind of feel like they do know you a bit because they've seen
Yeah.
you on LinkedIn.
That first impression when people click on your profile is the most important thing. I think that's
Yeah,
the advantage that you would have, because obviously you guys have a really good ecosystem, a really good LinkedIn page. That advantage where people can click on your profile and they do have almost instantaneously like a parasocial relationship where they get
yeah,
to know you, your story, like straight away without even having to communicate with you, and then they feel like they already know you almost when you reach out to them. It's perfect for recruitment as well because you have people always looking to hire on that, so it's the perfect
yeah.
platform for recruitment, I think.
I mean,
um,
no, absolutely. I would, I would not recommend any other recruiter using LinkedIn because God knows I don't need the competition. But the reality
mhm.
is, they bloody should do. I mean,
Yeah.
recruiters do. Some recruiters are doing it. I think recruiters were weirdly quite late to the party when it came to doing that. Everybody
Mm.
was just advertising their jobs, and nobody had the balls to actually go on and like say anything.
Yeah.
Um, and and it is hard because I think you've got to put yourself out there. You've got to almost have a bit of a persona, and something
100%.
to say, and you've got to accept that also that loads of people are going to disagree with you, and not everybody's going to like you or what you say, and you just have to accept that that's fine because you don't want to work with those people anyway if they're not your kind of people, right? So you
100%.
just go with what. I mean, it's different now. It has changed, which I'll talk about, but that LinkedIn's definitely changed. I've changed my focus on it because
Yeah.
I focused initially on kind of almost bit saying what I wanted to say, sometimes being a bit divisive with it,
Mm.
uh, but going for the likes and the comments and the engagement, which is great. And it's good because people know you and you do get approached by, particularly by candidates, but you do get approached by clients. But I wasn't saying what my message I was and what I was talking about wasn't focused on the actual target market that I was trying to sell to.
Yeah, obviously that top of funnel where you're getting the
Mm.
attention in, but then you
Yeah,
have content on your page, or you're also producing page for your market industry for the people that you want to see this content, and like educating them, nurturing them, and then
yeah,
also I think you should add in content where it's a lot more direct and bottom funnel. Obviously, a lot less of it, but
mm.
that in there shows you like what it is you do, especially in recruitment. Like you said prior, a lot of people out there do just post their jobs. Everyone can do that. It's not going to differentiate you at all compared to like the other guy who's posting a job. The only thing that will do that is being more personable in your content,
Mm.
creating that. It's a personal brand for a reason, right? And
Mm.
like we said, the first impression, the only thing to differentiate you from anyone else is your personal brand. Like no one can copy that. Being able to obviously create the business content, but also attach it to your personality and to your personal brand is really important.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't think it's just recruiters. I mean, it's definitely not just recruiters that do that kind of thing. Obviously, they're just posting jobs or they put up dry content about like, the jobs market,
Mm.
just reposting something from the news or something like that. Nobody's going to read that. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
But recruiters aren't the only one doing that because I look at my target market in the unified comms space and the amount of dry content they do. And it's hard to then engage because you go, I'm trying to sell to these people. I need to engage with their content. And I'm like, I don't engage with that. It's a piece of
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Nobody cares
100%.
what they say. They're just sort of talking about some UC platform, about something very specific and niche that hardly anyone. But actually, probably in some respects, maybe that works for them because
Mm.
they're maybe speaking to the people that they're trying to sell to.
Yeah. It's a lot more intentional.
So as long as those people that you're trying to sell to
Mm.
are the people that are reading it, it doesn't matter. You don't need 5,000 likes and
Yeah.
comments of all the wrong people. You need like a few of the right people, and that's
100%.
that's the shift. Yeah, definitely.
100%. Being more intentional towards the people that you want to put your content in front of. The algorithm on LinkedIn, like it knows the targeting of it. It knows your messaging. It knows
Yeah,
who to put that in front of.
yeah.
So yeah, I think that's really important.
Yeah, I would say LinkedIn is really important, and it's not just what you're posting, but it's the DMs as well, who you're targeting,
Yeah.
who you're speaking
Well,
to.
I guess it's still like a massive factor, part of the sales process, right? It's that first
Yeah,
impression. It's what's going to build that trust.
Yeah, I mean, we don't do cold calling. We have tried it, and we don't do it. I hate it, as in I
Mm.
hate doing it. I don't enjoy particularly receiving it either, but it depends what it is. The thing is,
Yeah.
it does work, and so recruiters do it, and lots of businesses do it in general. And I'm not saying it's not a good thing to do, but it's not a current strategy of ours.
Mm.
I feel like as well, if you're going to call people, it's better to be warm. So
Mm.
we do some speculative CV marketing. So where we've got a really strong candidate, we'll build a profile for them and we'll target very specific people that we think will be most likely interested in that, and that does work. That does
Yeah.
get attention. Um, I think where it doesn't work is when you spam it out to a million people. I don't think that works at all.
There's so much trust that you need to earn to even get someone on a call with you.
Yeah,
That direct selling, people have their guard up straight away,
yeah,
and you've got to sort of break through that guard, and just putting your product in front of them is going to strengthen their guard.
yeah, yeah,
So you need strategies, you need ways in which you can go about it where you're trying to build up that level of trust. And for me, my sales paradigm is I don't actually have anything to sell. It sounds stupid, but it's more like my goal in business is just to build relationships and talk to as many people who have the potential to work to potentially partner, and then off of the back of that, the amount of opportunities I've had from just creating those relationships. And
mm,
I think a massive part of that for me was leading with value first,
mm,
like with no intention of receiving anything. And when you lead with value first, people feel entitled to almost give back to you because
yeah.
you've led with that value. So that's the strategy that I've gone with.
No, I like that. That's interesting. I think as well, I think another thing to do instead of like ramming, like obviously who you serve and what you know, I'm a recruiter in the unified comm space. I could probably help pretty much most people or most
Mm,
companies in that space. Do they want to necessarily work with me? They don't know me,
mm,
and I could cold call them. I could try and pitch to them. I can send them messages on LinkedIn, but it's just noise. There's loads of other people doing that
yeah,
kind of thing, and so actually, I think other angles you can take are just being in front of them.
yeah,
LinkedIn's really good for that, but just being the authority on what you're talking about, having an
mm,
opinion on something that matters to them,
mm,
and being passionate about it, I think that holds a lot of weight. I think if you can talk about something confidently and get people talking about it,
yeah,
I would always be drawn to somebody who seems to know what they're talking about
mm,
a particular topic. And when I
yeah.
need to buy that, I don't need them ramming it down my throat. But when the timing's right and I need to buy that from, something from them, I'd approach them.
And that's what content does. That paradigm shift as well, when you're going to someone for help instead of them trying to get you to look
Yeah.
at them
Yes.
for them to help you, it's
Right.
a completely different paradigm shift. And psychologically, you're so much more entitled to or like invest in them if you're
Yeah.
going to them for help, and how they've
Yeah.
positioned themselves as a solution where they're giving the value, they're giving the content away, because content is free value, right? It's like the most
Yeah.
leveraged way to do it.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
distributing value out there.
Mm.
You get people coming to you for help. You've given all this free content away. You're helping them off of the back of
Yeah.
it. They're coming
Yeah.
to, it's the same sort of paradigm, just in like a different
Mm.
way of looking at it, I guess.
Yeah. Right. Definitely. Yeah. I agree.
Cool. So I guess going off of the sales side of things,
Hmm.
what would you say is your biggest success? Not just sales, but like more client success and results that Neoc have gotten.
Yeah. So the weirdest thing is that it's not always, what you're trying to do from a sales perspective that
Mm.
actually is your biggest win. Because one of the biggest wins we've had is with a client that we weren't even targeting,
Yeah.
as in we weren't trying to work with them. We were actually trying to take people from them, and we looked at the entire team that they had and put them into our client.
Mm.
Um, and they noticed and they contacted us. And instead of saying, "Stop stealing our people, you bastards, leave us alone," and piss off, they didn't. They were really like mature about it and arranged a call with us and said, "Look, we know what's going on. We know
Yeah.
you've lifted a team, and that's fine. That's what you guys do. But maybe we should be working with you."
Mm.
And we're like, we would love to do that. I mean, they were a growing business at the time. They're now 10 times the size of what they were. They've got about 2,000 staff now. I think they had a
Wow.
couple of hundred at the time. and they've grown massively through acquisition, and obviously they've grown through us as well, working with them. We placed about 60, 70 people with them since then. And I think they've been our biggest client over the last few years. And it's funny because we weren't targeting them to work with them. So all the business development you can put in, but actually the thing that won us new business, a new client, and the biggest client we've ever had is delivery.
Yeah.
Just doing the job, you know? Yeah. And yeah, that worked really well. So they actually invited us to then, they were doing like an internal summit, like an operations summit, where they were like, had all the management in the business there. And they said, could we come and talk to them about recruitment and how things have changed over the last couple of years, certainly post-COVID, come and do a presentation to us. And, you know, we shat ourselves because public speaking isn't exactly what we were up for, but you don't pass that opportunity up, right? So you just go and do it. And we did it, and that just enhanced it. Then, you know, we got all the people there, all the management knew who we were. And then they're approaching us saying, can you help with this? Can you help with that? And yeah, that's why they became the biggest client. So that wasn't part of our strategy, right?
Yeah. No, that's a cool way of going about it.
We've had, yeah.
It's that reputation. Your delivery has sold itself, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. And I think there's something to be said for that. You still got to, if you get on with the work and just do it really well, you can attract attention that way as well, not just trying 100%. To sell.
One thing that we haven't spoke about is the vision for Neosi. Where do you see it going in like the next couple of years? What's your goals for the future? And then after that, I guess, what's your thoughts on the future of recruitment as a whole, not just Neosi?
Yeah, okay. So for Neosi, I think we've gone through a bit of a turbulent couple of years. My business partner exited the business last year, and so I've taken the sort of helm, if you like. We've downsized in terms of headcount internally, because I think we focused on we didn't focus enough on sales, and we focused on delivery. And we had too many people delivering, not enough people bringing in the new business. So that's changed. And so I've kind of done a bit of a kind of streamlining and just a bit of repair and getting the house in order for the business. The future for Neosi, in my mind, is we are now looking to expand. So I want to bring on more people that can initially sell, that can, and when I say sell, I just mean people that can bring in new business, people that can build relationships quite quickly, and people that understand how to do that and are commercially focused, not just the delivery, not just the resourcing, because you know, you need that first. And then, I mean, 360 consultants is obviously the ideal, but I actually think it's really hard to find somebody that can do everything, somebody that can do bringing in a new business and can deliver properly and effectively on their own is actually quite hard. You know, you usually get somebody, you know, I've known people to be great on bringing new business in, and they're awful at filling the jobs. Just spamming out CVs to everyone, and just the quality is shite.
It's almost like two completely different roles, like 100%. In and of itself. And if you were to just focus all of your time on one thing and perfect that, and I guess you delegated that sales side, like for example, with what we're doing currently, we've had people where they have spread their time too thinly on delivery, and then having to focus all on acquisition, and it's like a solopreneur recruitment agency, right? And their results decrease because of it, because they're doing the delivery and then they realize, shit, now I haven't got any clients, I've got to do all the acquisition, and their results like hinder from that. Their reputation sort of decreases because they're not able to fulfill as much, because they've got to think. It's not predictable, right? You're always thinking in the back of your mind, shit, I need new clients next month. So
and that's the inconsistency thing. You know, recruiters, so many recruiters go up and down, have great months. It's like feast or famine, because you're absolutely delivering, and you make your money, and then you go, right, okay, now we need to go and find new clients. And that doesn't happen instantly. Well, you know, you've got existing clients that you have your relationships with, but not everyone's hiring all the time. You know, that's the thing. So yeah, I think it's working out a way of not doing that, having both. Yeah, it is kind of two separate roles. And I think where you get, if you get I've done 360 for like years, but I've always been better at the delivery until more recently, always been better at the delivery and the relationship piece than the initial sales piece. That's never been my forte, which is why we kind of didn't put enough into that. Businesses that grow rapidly often have really strong salespeople behind them. But they can get to a point quite quickly as well where they're not delivering properly, that they're dropping the ball on things that clients get. So they then have to concentrate on, okay, I'm all about sales, I'm pushing it out there, but how do I make sure that we're actually doing this properly? Because, that's where recruiters get a bad reputation for spamming CVs and sending crap people and, all that stuff. So, I do think it is for most people, it's two separate roles. Some people can do both and they're amazing. They're like unicorns. And we maybe want to get some of them as well. But so for the future for Neosi in the near future is growth in that sense. But I think we've still got a way to go in the market we're in. Although it's fairly niche, there's still a lot to uncover. So I think there's a lot for us to do in that space for this year, to focus on that, on the perm side. I want to then look at growing my contract side, because that's quite small at the moment. So the contracts piece. Then I want to look at growing in the US, because at the moment we are UK and US, but we don't do very much in the US. It's very much 95% UK. And I want to do more in the US because I want to go there on nice little business trips.
Yeah, that's quality. We're looking to go to America for the World Cup potentially.
Nice.
My dad used to live out in
business trip. Yeah.
yeah, business expense. My dad used to live out there in Texas, so.
Oh, nice.
He loves it out there. He's always wanted to live out there, but yeah.
Whereabouts in Texas?
I think it's Houston. I don't.
Oh, right.
Texas, right?
Yeah, it's there's a massive tech boom going on in Texas, like Austin, Texas in particular. But yeah, Houston, Dallas, they're all there's loads going on in that space.
I mean, that's a good way to wrap up the podcast. I think there's a lot of value in that episode. I always ask this question at the end. I always ask, if you were to give one piece of advice to when you first started out in your recruitment agency, what would it be?
It would be absolutely get your sales strategy, your sales and marketing, let's call it that, and marketing strategy on point. Because without that, you can't really, you're just going to be chasing your tail the whole time. Get that strategy in place, do that religiously, never ever stop doing that. If you can't deliver, find other people then that can, but focus your time on that. That's my biggest bit of advice.
Yeah, well, other than that, I really appreciate you hopping on, Ollie.
I appreciate your time.
But yeah, it's been a really good episode. So appreciate your time, and that's it for the placement game.
Cheers, Harvey.